All right, just had this Cadillac dropped off. We are gonna check out the brakes. She thinks that the rear brakes are grinded, and I guess she left her keys on the ground. But yeah, we're gonna check the rear brakes. She thinks that they're not grinding, but squeaking and making noise. So we're gonna check out front and rear and see what it needs. Put it up in the air, take a look at it, and see if it's the rear or the front, or what it needs. So this vehicle has wheel lock keys. So now we got to play find the key. Let's make sure the customer didn't put it in the cup holder. I don't see it in there. So I found it in the glove box. Probably should have looked there first, but you wouldn't believe how many vehicles I work on where it's in the back, where the tire tools are or jumper cables. So now we can remove the wheels and check the rear brakes. I can see the brakes enough through the wheels. Fronts look like they got plenty of life. So that brake pad's got about 2.5 millimeters. The inside is about 1.5, and it's tapered. Once I get the pad off, you'll be able to see a lot easier. But the top's got around 3, and the bottom's got about 1.5 millimeters. So we have a slide pin that's not releasing all the way. Oh, same thing over here. So inside pad is completely gone, worn on the inside. Outside's got 3.5 millimeters maybe. So I don't know if the parking brakes aren't releasing all the way, or if we got a slide pin, but we'll check out the slide pins and see if I see anything there. Huge lip on this one too. So we'll see what we need to do. We'll measure them out. 20 thousandths on the thinnest point. So the rear brake rotor minimum machining thickness is 866 thousandths of an inch. So 866 is our minimum machine to. We are at 880, which isn't a whole lot. So we'd be right at the minimum. Man, that lip is so big. Right at 20 thousandths left on this one. I'm gonna leave it up to the customer. The pads are worn on a taper. The rotor is actually worn on a taper. So I'm guesstimating will be enough. Is it life or death? No. You get a rotor thinner, it takes less heat to cause distortion, to cause warpage, and a problem. Do you want to risk having a problem in the future to save money today, but end up spending more in the long run? I'm a huge fan of machining rotors. In fact, I believe that that is the most accurate, most precise way on the vehicle lathe. You'll have smoother stopping and longer life and more even brake wear. But at the end of the day, I got to make sure that we have enough material on those rotors to follow guidelines by the manufacturer. I'll price some new rotors, and I'll price machining it and let them know the pros and cons of both, and we can go from there. She doesn't want to replace the rotors. She wants to save her money and just put pads on it and resurface them. As long as the customer understands and it's not unsafe, I will do it. I have recommendations for a reason, so we're going to get to work. We had to put the rear parking brakes into service mode. Rear brake caliper retract. So we're going to hit release. So I'll show you what I meant about the brake pads being tapered. You see that? Pretty much nothing down here. 3 millimeters up there. This one's worn pretty even, top to bottom. Slight taper. But this inside, extremely tapered. Whoever did brakes last time probably didn't lubricate these pins up because they're fairly seized. That's what you get when people just slap brake pads on and kick it out the door. Pass number 2. I'm machining the inside. You can see what was left. Got the whole rotor except that last ½ inch. Another 7/1000 off. So hopefully it'll clean up. Okay, we're on the passenger rear, and you can see this brake pad is completely tapered like the driver's side was. Nothing at the bottom, 3.5 millimeters or so, around 3 millimeters, and it's tapered this way too. So if you look here, how thick that is and how thin it is here. So it's tapered, you know, this way and this way. Definitely a caliper slide pin. Yeah, that one seized, don't want to move. That one I can move, but it's tight. So and it's a shame because, you know, look at how much material is left on that brake pad. Tapered, you know, this way, but not tapered top to bottom. Someone just slapping pads and not cleaning and lubricating the pins, you know, it's just a poor job. Some of these pads got a little nub on there, and you have to line that up with your caliper piston. After you retract these pistons, the electronic parking brake, then you have to push them in still to make room for your new pads. So we are going back into the vehicle here, and we are gonna put the parking brake back into normal mode, non-service mode, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so we should be finished with that. Lug nut torque on this vehicle is 140 foot-pounds. Wheel lock keys going back in that plastic container, which was in the glove box.